10 unpleasant things seniors do as they age that no one tells you. Hey there, have you ever stopped and thought about what it's really like to grow old? I mean, we all see the glossy picture of aging in movies, smooth wrinkles, silver hair, and always wise and graceful, right? But here's the truth. Growing older is not always as picture-perfect as it seems. There's a side of aging that no one really talks about. The challenges that can catch you off guard, even if you're a loving grandchild or a caring caregiver. Maybe you've noticed that one moment, your grandparents or elderly parents are full of life, and the next, they're slowing down in ways you didn't expect. It's easy to think it's just part of life, but let me tell you, some of these shifts are a little more, well, unpleasant than we like to admit. The memory lapses, the physical struggles, and the emotional shifts are just the beginning. Today, I want to get real with you. I'm going to share the 10 unpleasant things seniors do as they age that no one ever tells you. Things that might make you feel uncomfortable, but things that are important to understand. Because it's not just about what they go through, it's about how we can be there for them. Aging isn't always kind, but when we know what to expect, we can handle it with grace, patience, and love. Let's talk about it. Part 1. Memory loss and forgetfulness. Let's kick things off with one of the most noticeable and often frustrating changes that come with aging. Memory loss. You've probably noticed it before. You're sitting at the kitchen table with your grandma, and out of nowhere, she starts telling you a story. It's a good story, but here's the catch. She's told you this story 100 times before. You smile politely and nod along, but inside, you're thinking, wait, didn't she just say this yesterday? At first, it might seem like a harmless moment, just a small lapse in memory. But as time goes on, the forgetfulness tends to grow. It's not just the repeated stories or forgetting names, it's the bigger things, losing track of important dates, forgetting why they went into a room, or sometimes forgetting something as basic as where they left their keys. It's not just inconvenient, it's a bit heartbreaking. And here's the thing. For many seniors, this is more than just a minor annoyance. It's a real fear. Imagine losing control over your own thoughts, forgetting things that once came easily, and even forgetting the faces of the people you love. That's the fear that looms in the background of every senior moment. But here's the catch. It's a normal part of aging, even though we're not always prepared for it. The real challenge? Sometimes seniors don't even realize they've forgotten something. You might find yourself repeating the same piece of information again and again, and it can get frustrating. But remember, this isn't their fault. It's the brain's way of slowing down as it gets older, and it's something we need to approach with patience, love, and understanding. So, next time your loved one repeats a story for the 100th time, instead of rolling your eyes or cutting them off, try this. Listen. Really listen. They may not remember that they've told you this before, but what they'll remember is how you made them feel heard. And in those small moments of connection, the frustration starts to fade away. Part 2. Physical weakness and fatigue. Now, let's talk about something that hits us all, no matter how young or old. Fatigue. But for seniors, fatigue isn't just about being tired after a long day. It's about a constant feeling of weakness that never seems to go away. Ever watch your grandparents try to get out of a chair? You can almost see the effort it takes for them to stand up straight. They might lean on the armrests, take a deep breath, and slowly rise, one step at a time. It might not seem like much to you, but to them, it's a monumental task. The strength that they once took for granted is slowly slipping away, and what was once a casual stroll across the room is now a careful, deliberate effort. But here's the kicker. It's not just about strength, it's about stamina too. Remember when your grandpa used to walk for miles or your mom could chase you around the yard for hours? As they age, those long walks become shorter and shorter. Even standing for too long can leave them exhausted. This type of physical weakness can feel humiliating for seniors. The things that once came naturally, bending down to tie their shoes, carrying groceries, even getting out of bed in the morning, become challenges they have to strategize around. And here's where we all need to step up. We need to be patient, gentle, and supportive, not just in words, but in actions. Offering them a hand when they get up from the couch, offering to help carry the groceries, or even just giving them a moment to rest can make a world of difference. You may think, but they're old. They're supposed to slow down. And yes, that's true, but it doesn't make it any less hard to watch. As hard as it is for us to accept their physical limitations, it's just as hard for them to accept it themselves. Remember that every time you offer a little help or understanding, you're not just helping them physically. You're showing them that they still matter, that they are still capable, and that they are loved. So, next time you see a senior struggling to get out of a chair or climb the stairs, take a moment to offer your help. It might seem like a small gesture, but to them, it means the world. Part 3. Changes in appearance. All right, let's talk about something that hits us all, but it's especially noticeable as we age: changes in our appearance. If you've ever watched an elderly relative look at themselves in the mirror, you've probably seen that moment of quiet reflection, or even a moment of sadness, as they notice the changes they can't reverse. Aging brings physical signs that are impossible to ignore: wrinkles, gray hair, sagging skin, and the loss of that youthful vibrancy we all once had. But what's even harder for many seniors is the way these changes affect their self-image. It's not just about how they look in the mirror, it's about how they feel when they look at themselves. And for many, the person they see staring back at them is no longer the strong, vibrant figure they once were. It can feel like a part of their identity is slipping away. Let's face it, society often values youth, and that can make seniors feel invisible. They might even start dressing differently, or worse, withdraw from social gatherings because they feel self-conscious about their appearance. It's a tough reality that we don't always acknowledge, but it's something many older adults face every single day. Now, here's the thing. Aging isn't bad. In fact, there's something beautiful about growing older, about the stories etched into your face, the wisdom reflected in your eyes. But that doesn't mean the changes are easy. The struggle to accept that your body is no longer what it once was can be tough, and seniors often carry that burden quietly. What we can do is show them that they're still beautiful, no matter what their appearance might say. Compliment them, cherish the time you spend together, and let them know that their worth isn't tied to how they look. It's about who they are, their experiences, and the incredible wisdom they've accumulated over the years. So next time you see a senior who might be struggling with their changing appearance, take a moment to remind them how much they still matter. Give them a compliment, share a smile, and let them know that their beauty goes far beyond their physical appearance. Part 4. Sensitivity to temperature. Have you ever noticed that seniors seem to feel the cold so much more than everyone else? It's not just a little colder for them. It's like they're living in a completely different temperature zone. A warm summer day might feel just right to you, but for an elderly person, it can feel like they're trapped in a freezer. Seniors often experience increased sensitivity to temperature as they age. They may bundle up in sweaters or blankets when it's not that cold, or avoid going outside altogether because the heat is simply too much to handle. You might wonder, it's 85 degrees or outside. Why are they wearing 3 layers? The truth is, their bodies are no longer as efficient at regulating temperature, which can make them feel colder or hotter than the rest of us. And it's not just about comfort. It's a real health concern. For seniors, being too cold can increase the risk of hypothermia, and being too hot can lead to heat stroke. It's something that often goes unnoticed until it's too late. The challenge here is understanding their unique needs. When you're planning a family gathering or a day out with your senior loved one, You might not think about their sensitivity to temperature, but they do. So take it into account. Make sure the temperature inside the house is comfortable. Encourage them to wear light layers when it's warm outside, and always check that they're not too cold or too hot during outings. And don't dismiss their discomfort. If they're telling you they're cold, even though you feel fine, listen to them. It's a real issue for them, not just a quirky preference. So the next time you're out for a walk with your senior loved one and they're bundled up in a sweater on a mild day, don't just think they're being extra. It's just their body's way of saying, I need a little extra warmth. And offering them that care is a small but meaningful way to show you understand and respect their needs. Part 5. Decline in hearing and vision. Let's move on to something that affects more seniors than we like to talk about: hearing and vision problems. Imagine this. You're having a conversation with your grandparent, sharing a funny story or telling them about your day, and suddenly, they stop you and ask, "What did you say?" Or maybe, when you're trying to get their attention, they don't even hear you. Hearing loss can creep up slowly over time, and for many seniors, it becomes one of those invisible struggles that no one sees. At first, it's just a little harder to catch the details in a conversation. But before long, it's harder to hear phone calls, watch TV, or even engage in social settings. The worst part? Many seniors are too proud or embarrassed to admit that they're losing their hearing, so they'll often avoid situations where they might struggle to hear. Vision loss, similarly, is a sneaky change. It's not like one day they wake up and can't see at all. It's more like a gradual decline. Maybe they can't read small text or drive at night without feeling anxious. They might not be able to recognize faces from a distance or struggle to navigate through familiar places. But here's the kicker. The longer it goes unaddressed, the more frustrating and isolating it can become. And let's not forget the emotional toll this takes. When seniors can't hear well or see clearly, they often start withdrawing from social situations. They avoid going out with friends, or they stop attending family gatherings because they don't want to feel embarrassed or left out of the conversation. It's heartbreaking because the sense of isolation can become overwhelming. As much as it may seem like just another inconvenience, hearing and vision loss for seniors is a significant barrier to their independence and well-being. So how do we help? First, we need to be patient. Speak clearly, not loudly. Sometimes volume doesn't help, but clarity does. Offer to assist them with reading, whether it's finding a larger font or helping them navigate their phone or computer. Most importantly, make sure they know it's okay to ask for help. These changes are tough enough without feeling embarrassed about them. Remember, as frustrating as it might be for you, it's even harder for them. So, take a moment to appreciate the effort they're putting in just to stay engaged with you. Small acts of kindness, like speaking a little slower or adjusting the lighting, go a long way in making them feel included. Part 6. Increased sensitivity and emotional shifts. Now let's dive into something that doesn't always get talked about: the emotional changes that often come with aging. If you've spent any time with seniors, you've probably noticed it. One moment, they're laughing, sharing a story, or reminiscing about their youth, and the next, they're tearing up or becoming upset over something small. This emotional roller coaster can be confusing, not just for the senior, but for everyone around them. Aging brings a lot of changes to the emotional landscape. For some, it's the sadness of losing friends or family. For others, it's the frustration of not being able to do the things they used to. But there's also a deep-seated fear that comes with aging. The fear of losing control, of being forgotten, or of facing death. All of these emotions can make seniors more sensitive, and their reactions can seem out of proportion at times. The tough part is that seniors often feel like they can't talk about what's really bothering them. They don't want to burden anyone, and sometimes they don't even fully understand why they're feeling the way they do. It might be triggered by something as small as a change in routine or a memory that suddenly floods back. Their mood swings can be quick, and they might even feel embarrassed afterward. But here's where we, as younger people, need to step up. It's important to be patient and to not take these emotional shifts personally. When a senior starts tearing up over a memory, it's often because they're feeling overwhelmed by the loss of time, family, or identity. And when they snap at you for something small, it's not because they're upset with you. It's because they're dealing with so much more than we realize. What can we do to help? First, let them talk. Sometimes the best thing you can do is just listen. If they want to tell a story, even if it's the 100th time, let them. If they need to express their frustration or sadness, don't brush it off. Validate their feelings and let them know that it's okay to feel however they feel. Reassure them that their emotions are normal and that they're not alone in this journey. And remember, sometimes the emotional shifts aren't about sadness or anger. They can be moments of joy too. A senior might become suddenly overwhelmed by gratitude or love, and those moments are just as important as the sad ones. It's part of the beauty of growing older. The emotions become sharper, more vivid, and when we can understand and appreciate that, we can better support the seniors in our lives. So next time you see a senior tear up unexpectedly, or suddenly become emotional over something seemingly trivial, take a deep breath. They may not fully understand what's happening themselves, but you can offer the understanding and compassion that can make all the difference in those moments. Part 7. Loss of independence. Now, let's dive into one of the hardest parts of aging, losing independence. For many seniors, this can feel like the ultimate loss, the most painful thing they have to face. The things they once did effortlessly, driving to the store, cooking their own meals, managing their finances, or even just running a few errands, become increasingly difficult. And as those simple tasks start slipping away, so does their sense of autonomy. Imagine this. Your dad, who used to drive you everywhere, now can't remember the last time he was behind the wheel. Or your grandma, who used to be the one in charge of the family dinners, now struggles to even chop vegetables. It's a gradual process that's hard to watch, and even harder to experience. For seniors, this loss of independence isn't just about doing things for themselves. It's about feeling like they're losing a piece of who they are. We all want to stay in control of our own lives, and as we age, that desire doesn't just fade away. But for seniors, it becomes increasingly difficult to maintain that sense of control. And here's where it gets tricky. Sometimes, seniors refuse help because they don't want to admit that they can no longer do things on their own. They might push back against assistance, even if it's desperately needed. It's not about being stubborn or ungrateful. It's about pride, dignity, and the overwhelming fear of becoming dependent on others. For many, this is a tough pill to swallow, and it's easy for us to become frustrated when they resist help. But what we need to remember is that asking for help doesn't mean giving up. It's just part of the journey. So how do we navigate this? We need to approach it with patience, compassion, and respect. Don't push too hard, but gently encourage them to accept help when necessary. And don't make them feel like they've lost their value. Remind them that they are still important, still capable of contributing to the family and community in their own unique ways. The best way we can help them retain their dignity and independence is by respecting their autonomy wherever possible. If they can still do something on their own, let them. If they can't, be there to lend a hand without making them feel like a burden. It's all about balance, and through it, you'll both find that it's not the independence itself that matters. It's the way we continue to love and support each other, no matter what. Part 8. Decreased sexual health and desire. This is one of those topics that tends to be swept under the rug, but it's a reality for many seniors. Decreased sexual health and desire. As we age, our bodies go through numerous changes, and yes, Our sexual health often changes along with it. For some, it's a slow decline, while for others, it happens more abruptly. Either way, it can be a sensitive subject that many seniors avoid discussing, even though it's a part of life. As the years go by, many seniors experience a drop in libido, a change in sexual function, or even physical discomfort during intimacy. For men, this might mean erectile dysfunction. For women, it could mean vaginal dryness or discomfort. It's a topic that many might feel embarrassed to talk about, but it's an issue that needs attention because it can impact self-esteem, relationships, and overall quality of life. And let's not forget the emotional side of things. Aging can make people feel less attractive, and this can have a significant effect on their desire for intimacy. The loss of physical vitality and changes in appearance can leave seniors feeling less confident in their own skin, leading them to withdraw from intimate moments altogether. But here's something important. This doesn't mean that intimacy and connection become impossible. In fact, emotional closeness, touch, and affection become even more meaningful as we age. Many seniors still crave intimacy, even if their physical health has changed. The key is understanding and adjusting expectations. For the younger generations, it's important to recognize that seniors don't just stop wanting affection or closeness. They may just need more support, more understanding, and more time. For those in relationships with seniors, it's essential to communicate openly and with sensitivity. Being affectionate, holding hands, and simply being there for each other can help fill the void left by physical changes. What we need to remember is that sexual health isn't just about physical sex. It's about emotional connection, intimacy, and love. So, when your elderly parent or grandparent seems to be less interested or less physical, remember, it's not that they don't need affection. It's just that it may take on a different form. It's up to us to help them navigate this part of aging with grace, dignity, and the understanding that they are still whole, still worthy of love, and still capable of experiencing closeness. So, the next time you think about the changes seniors face in their sexual health, remember that it's not a loss in the traditional sense. It's just a change in how we express love and connection, and that's something that we can continue to offer, no matter the age. Part 9. Incontinence and bathroom issues. Let's move on to a topic that's often left out of polite conversation, but is a reality for many seniors: incontinence. It's one of those things that's embarrassing for everyone involved, especially for the person experiencing it. But it's also one of the most common health issues that come with aging, and it can seriously affect a senior's quality of life. Imagine your elderly relative, who used to be as independent as they come, now needing help with something as basic as using the bathroom. For many seniors, incontinence becomes a daily struggle. Whether it's urinary incontinence, bowel incontinence, or just a general difficulty getting to the bathroom in time, it can cause a lot of stress and anxiety. For seniors, incontinence can feel like a loss of control, which is a major blow to their dignity. The fear of accidents can make them hesitant to leave the house, go out with friends, or even leave their own room. It might make them feel like they're a burden on their loved ones, even if no one ever says that. It's tough to watch, and even tougher for them to deal with, especially if they're dealing with it silently. So, what do we do? First and foremost, we need to remove the stigma surrounding incontinence. This is a normal part of aging, and we should treat it with compassion, not embarrassment. Seniors need to feel comfortable discussing it with us, without fear of judgment. We need to be understanding and offer practical help when needed, whether it's bringing them extra supplies or helping them get to the bathroom. Sometimes, all they need is a little encouragement. Let them know they're not alone in this, and remind them that they're still the same person. Their worth isn't tied to their ability to control their body, but rather to the love and care they continue to give to others. And for those moments when you're assisting a senior with this sensitive issue, remember that kindness and respect go a long way. Just a gentle hand on their shoulder or a word of reassurance can make a world of difference. Part 10. Fear of death and loneliness. Finally, let's talk about something that, although difficult to face, is something that every single senior has to grapple with: the fear of death and the loneliness that often accompanies it. This is perhaps the most painful and emotional change that aging brings, and it's something that we often shy away from acknowledging. But for many seniors, this fear is a constant undercurrent of their daily lives. As seniors age, they inevitably experience the loss of loved ones, friends, family members, even pets. These losses can take a toll on their emotional well-being, and the reality of their own mortality begins to sink in. For many, the fear of death becomes something they can't ignore. They start to worry about what will happen to them when they're no longer around or whether they'll be forgotten. But it's not just the fear of death. It's the fear of dying alone, of not having someone by their side when the time comes. This fear is often compounded by feelings of loneliness. As physical health declines, social circles tend to shrink. Friends pass away, children grow up and move away, and it can feel like their world is slowly becoming smaller and smaller. That sense of isolation can feel overwhelming at times. It's heartbreaking to see a senior sit alone in their home, staring out the window, silently wondering who will be there for them when they need it most. The key to helping seniors navigate these fears is to be present for them, both physically and emotionally. It's not always about having the right words to say, but about offering the gift of your presence. Let them know that you're there, even when things get tough. Spend time with them. Ask them about their memories, their fears, their dreams. Remind them that they are loved and that their life has been meaningful. And, just as importantly, help them understand that loneliness doesn't have to be permanent. There are communities, support networks, and services that can help seniors stay connected and engaged, no matter how old they are. Whether it's organizing family visits, helping them join a social group, or encouraging them to engage in hobbies, the more connected they feel, the less isolated they will be. So, the next time you visit a senior, take a moment to listen to their fears about death or loneliness. Offer them comfort in those moments, but also remind them of all the love and joy they've brought into the world. Their legacy isn't tied to how long they live, but to the lives they've touched and the impact they've had on those around them. Conclusion. As we wrap up this discussion, I hope you've gained a little more understanding of what seniors go through as they age. These 10 unpleasant things: memory loss, physical weakness, changes in appearance, sensitivity to temperature, hearing and vision decline, emotional shifts, loss of independence, decreased sexual health, incontinence, and the fear of death and loneliness, are all part of the aging process. They can be tough to watch, but even tougher to experience. But here's the truth. Aging is not something to be feared. It's a journey, and just like any other journey, it's filled with both hardships and beautiful moments. Our role, as younger generations, is to walk alongside our seniors with patience, empathy, and love. They may not be able to do the things they used to, but they still have so much to offer. Their stories, their wisdom, and their love are gifts that we should cherish every single day. So, let's not shy away from the difficult conversations about aging. Let's embrace them with open hearts, ready to support the seniors in our lives as they navigate this phase. Remember, it's not about fixing everything. It's about being there, offering love, and showing that their worth doesn't change with age. Take a moment today to check in with your senior loved ones and let them know you're there for them, not just in the easy moments, but in the challenging ones too. And in doing so, we'll all be better prepared to face the future together.